Hi everyone, welcome to my channel International Storyteller. In this channel you will find true horror stories worldwide. These stories are for entertainment purpose only. In this video I will tell you about a scary incident that happened when I was 19 years old. It was a cold night in the town of Tabina, a province of Zamboanga del Sur, in the Philippines. We went for a visit to my uncle and spent one night because my parents also wanted to visit my grandparents. We had been very happy on that day until the evening came, and the rain fell down into the town. The wind was very cold that night because my uncle's house is only a few meters away from the beach. As the evening ran late, me and my family went to bed and everybody fell asleep. Later that night, the rain stopped and then suddenly I woke up. After that, I couldn't sleep, even if I tried to sleep again. I kept trying to close my eyes, but my mind is always wandering and it feels like I'm having an insomnia. So, I went out of my uncle's house just to have a walk on the beach and refresh my mind. It was a full moon night and it was bright outside. But the moon is turning red and the wind is still blowing cold and breezy. Before I could reach the end of the beach, I saw an old banyan tree. At that moment, I never thought of anything else, because under that old banyan tree, I used to play with my cousins when we were very little. As I walked towards the beach, I saw a man walking back and forth under the old banyan tree. For a brief moment, I felt relieved that I was not alone on the beach. I continued walking on that cold night because I felt safe, even though that man was a stranger to me. As I went nearer and nearer to the beach, I thought that the man I saw was a fisherman and was waiting for someone. As I came nearer to him, I suddenly stopped because I noticed that something was missing from the man I saw. Then I realized the man walking on the beach beneath the old banyan tree has no head at all. I stood and noticed him coming towards me. Immediately, I retreated back and goosebumps wrapped around me, and my heart was pounding so fast in my chest. But I wasn't sure exactly whether that man was really headless or not. So, I remained and stood still. Then I looked back at the man to make sure if he was really headless because the shadow of the tree might have covered him and it was difficult to see him clearly that night. As I stood still, the man came nearer and nearer towards me. Then he suddenly stopped and turned towards me. At that moment, the moonlight touched him and revealed his whole appearance. I clearly saw his headless figure, it was only his neck and no head. At that moment, I came to know that he was not a human, but a headless ghost. The most scary part was that he was walking towards me, holding a real hatchet in his hand and raising it from his hand. I was shocked, so I retreated and controlled my panic, and ran off from the beach to my uncle's house and never looked back. As the morning arrived, I wanted to tell my uncle about the horror I saw last night. At first I thought my uncle would not believe me, but when I told the story to my uncle, he said that what I saw last night was the ghost of a fisherman. I asked what had happened to the fisherman and was told that a long time ago there was a fisherman murdered by common town robbers. They chopped off his head and threw him up in the sea. After a few days, under that old banyan tree, the residents of the town recover his headless body, but they have no clue where to find his head. Years passed, and some people started seeing the headless fisherman walking on that same beach under that old banyan tree. People believe that the fisherman's headless ghost was looking for his missing piece of his body and that he will not rest until his head is returned and buried alongside his own body. So when the late evening arrived, the people of that town never dared to cross or walk on the beach near that old banyan tree. According to my uncle, the headless ghost had been waiting and looking for the one who really murdered him. That is why he always carries a hatchet in his hand, walking back and forth while searching for his head. Since then, I never think about walking on that beach where I used to play with my cousins when I was a kid.